The alarm bells rang across the command deck of the starship Dawn's Edge. Red lights flashed as crew members ran to their stations. Outside the large viewing windows, space looked like a war zone. Enemy ships moved in perfect formation toward a group of helpless civilian transports. Maya Collins stood in the center of the chaos, her brown eyes focused on the main screen. She was only 28 years old, but everyone on the ship trusted her completely. For 3 years, she had led them to victory after victory against the alien empire that wanted to destroy all human colonies. "They have us surrounded," said Admiral Rodriguez, his voice tight with worry. The older man had fought in space wars for 30 years, but he had never seen anything like this. "We can't get past their blockade. The civilian ships will be destroyed in 10 minutes. Maya closed her eyes for just a second. In her mind, she could see every ship, every asteroid, every piece of space debris in the area. She could see paths through the enemy formation that no one else would think of. Sometimes she wondered how she could see these things so clearly, but she pushed those thoughts away. "Lisa, show me the mining equipment near the 3rd asteroid," Maya said to the young woman at the tactical station. Lisa Parker typed quickly on her controls. "There are 12 automated mining ships attached to the rock. They're just sitting there." Ryan opened a channel to all civilian transports. Maya ordered. Communications Officer Ryan Torres nodded. "Channel open, Commander." Maya stepped forward. "This is Commander Collins. I need all civilian ships to move exactly where I tell you. Trust me and follow my orders precisely. You will be safe." On the enemy command ship, War Prime Faxos watched the human fleet with interest. The Zephyrian leader had studied every battle. Report about this Maya Collins. She always found impossible solutions. Today would be different. Today he had positioned his ship so perfectly that even she could not escape. Back on the Dawn's Edge, Maya turned to the engineering station. "Ben, I need you to override the mining ship controls. Can you do it?" Chief Engineer Ben Walsh smiled. He was Maya's oldest friend on the ship, and he trusted her completely. "Give me 2 minutes." "We don't have 2 minutes," Admiral Rodriguez said. "The enemy will start firing soon." Maya looked at the screen again. In her mind, she could see exactly what would happen. The mining ships would grab the asteroid with their powerful tractor beams. The asteroid would spin and create a gravity field. The civilian ships would use that gravity to launch themselves past the enemy fleet like rocks from a slingshot. But there was more. The enemy ships were positioned too close together. When the asteroid moved, it would pull them into the debris field around the 4th moon. They would crash into the floating rocks and be destroyed. "Got it," Ben announced. "Mining ships are under our control." "Perfect. Lisa, target the mining ships at these coordinates." Maya pointed to specific spots on the screen. "Ryan, tell the civilian ships to move to formation Delta 7. But that formation puts them right in the enemy's path," Lisa said, confused. "Trust me," Maya replied. Admiral Rodriguez wanted to argue, but he had learned to trust Maya's strange battle plans. 3 years ago, she had been just another tactical officer. Then she started seeing solutions that no one else could imagine. She had saved more human lives than any commander in history. The mining ships fired their tractor beams at the massive asteroid. The rock began to turn slowly at first, then faster and faster. The gravity around it started to change, creating invisible currents in space. "Now," Maya said quietly, "all civilian ships, full power to engines, follow the gravity streams." 23 transport ships carrying over 50,000 civilians suddenly burst forward. They rode the gravity waves like surfers on ocean waves, moving faster than their engines could normally push them. In seconds, they shot past the surprised Zephyrian fleet. War Prime Faxos could not believe what he was seeing. How did she know about the gravity streams? Our computers didn't even detect them. But Maya was not finished. A spinning asteroid created more than just escape routes. It pulled on the enemy ships with invisible gravity hands. The Zephyrian vessels, arranged in their perfect attack formation, began to drift toward each other. All ships, pull back, Vaxos ordered. But it was too late. The asteroid's gravity field caught the enemy fleet like fish in a net. Ship after ship crashed into the debris field around the fourth moon. Explosions lit up space as the proud Zephyrian attack force destroyed itself. On the Dawn's edge, the crew cheered. They had won another impossible victory. Admiral Rodriguez shook his head in amazement. Maya, how did you see that solution? Our computers didn't show any way to escape. Maya smiled, but her hands were shaking. Sometimes you have to think differently. The universe has patterns if you know how to look for them. The alien representatives on the ship were equally amazed. Clix 9, the insect-like creature from the hive worlds, clicked its approval. Human tactical thinking continues to surprise us. Your species finds solutions where others see only problems. Prism, the living crystal being, sang a harmony of praise. The Collins human shows wisdom beyond her years. We are fortunate to fight beside such minds. Maya accepted their praise with a smile, but inside she felt sick. The victory had been perfect, but the cost was getting higher each time. She could feel something changing inside her brain, something that made her see battle patterns that should not be visible to human eyes. I'll be in my quarters, she told Admiral Rodriguez. Please handle the after-action reports. Maya walked quickly through the ship's corridors. Crew members nodded respectfully as she passed. They looked at her like she was some kind of military genius, a human who could work miracles in space battles. If only they knew the truth docked in her private room. Maya locked the door and opened a hidden panel in the wall. Inside was a small device that glowed with soft blue light. It looked like no human technology anyone had ever seen. Maya placed her palm against its smooth surface. For just a moment, her brown eyes flashed with the same blue light as the device. Strange symbols appeared in her vision, showing mathematical equations and battle formations that no human mind should understand. She could see the entire galaxy like a giant chessboard, with every ship and planet as pieces in some cosmic game. Maya pulled her hand away, and the vision stopped. She was human again, but for how much longer? Each time she used whatever was inside her head, she felt a little less like herself. Each victory brought her closer to becoming something else entirely. She had saved 50,000 lives today. She had protected human colonies from destruction. But she was paying a price that no one else could understand. Maya Collins was humanity's greatest hero, and she was slowly losing her humanity with every battle she won. Outside her window, the stars looked cold and distant. Somewhere out there, more enemies were planning attacks on human worlds. They would need her strange abilities again soon. She would answer the call because that was her duty, but each time it got harder to remember who she used to be. The device pulsed softly in its hiding place, waiting for the next battle, the next impossible victory. Maya closed the panel and tried to forget about the blue light in her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, and everyone would expect another miracle from their brilliant commander. None of them could ever know the truth about what she was becoming. 3 months had passed since the battle at Kepler Station. Maya Collins stood on the bridge of the Dawn's Edge, watching the swirling red clouds of the Crimson Nebula fill the main screen. Intelligence reports said the Zephyrian Empire was building something dangerous deep inside the space storm, something that could destroy entire star systems. Sensors are having trouble seeing through all that gas and radiation, reported Lisa Parker from her tactical station. We're flying blind in there. Admiral Rodriguez frowned at the blood-red clouds ahead. Maya, are you sure about this plan? Taking 7 different alien fleets into a nebula where we can't see properly seems like suicide. Maya nodded slowly, but her head was pounding again. The headaches had been getting worse lately. Sometimes she would see battle plans that seemed to come from someone else's mind. The Zephyrians think the nebula will protect them. That's exactly why we need to attack now. Behind them, the largest fleet in Coalition history followed the Dawn's Edge into the dangerous space clouds. Human ships flew alongside vessels from 6 alien races. Each species had their own way of fighting, their own strengths and weaknesses. Coordinating them all should have been impossible, but Maya could see how to make it work. In her mind, she could picture every ship as part of a giant puzzle. The insect-like hive ships were fast but weak. The crystal beings from Prism had powerful energy weapons but moved slowly. The bear-like Ursan warriors were tough but needed close combat. Somehow, Maya could see how to fit all the pieces together. "Ryan, open channels to all fleet commanders," Maya ordered. Communications officer Ryan Torres worked his controls. "All channels open, Commander." Maya began giving orders to 7 different species at once. She spoke in simple words that the translation computers could handle easily. "Hive Fleet, move to Grid 7 Alpha. Use your speed to scout ahead. Prism Squadron, charge your main weapons but stay in the center formation. Ursan battle groups, prepare for close combat when I give the signal." Each alien commander acknowledged her orders. Even though they came from different worlds with different cultures, they all trusted the human who had never led them to defeat. Ben Walsh watched Maya from the engineering station. His old friend looked tired and pale. Dark circles showed under her eyes, and her hands sometimes shook when she thought no one was looking. "Maya, when did you last sleep?" he asked quietly. "Sleep is for people who don't have a war to win," Maya replied, but Ben could hear the strain in her voice. The fleet moved deeper into the red clouds. Strange energy readings danced across their sensors. Space itself seemed twisted inside the nebula, with gravity wells and radiation storms that could tear ships apart. Maya closed her eyes and let her enhanced abilities guide the fleet through the maze. She could see safe paths through the chaos, routes that regular sensors would never detect. But each time she used her special sight, the headaches got worse. "Contact ahead," Lisa announced. Multiple Zephyrian ships, but something's wrong with the sensor readings. On the main screen, enemy vessels appeared and disappeared like ghosts in the red fog. They moved in patterns that didn't make sense, using the nebula's strange properties to hide their true positions. "They're using the radiation to mask their numbers," Admiral Rodriguez said. "We could be facing 10 ships or 100. Maya opened her eyes and stared at the screen. For a moment, her vision flickered and she saw something impossible. The enemy ships weren't just hiding in the nebula. They were connected to it somehow, drawing power from the space storm itself. "New enemy commander," she whispered. "Someone who thinks like me." War Prime Thaxos sat in his command chamber deep, inside the nebula. Around him, Zephyrian engineers worked frantically to complete their new weapon. But Thaxos was not watching the construction. He was studying the human fleet on his screens. "The Collins human has found us," reported his tactical officer. "Her fleet formation is perfect for nebula warfare." "How could she know our weaknesses so quickly?" Thaxos smiled with his sharp teeth. "Because she is like me, enhanced, changed, no longer purely what she was born to be." The Zephyrian commander touched a device attached to his skull. It glowed with the same blue light as the hidden machine in Maya's quarters. For just a moment, his eyes flashed with alien intelligence. "Begin the attack," Thaxos ordered. You see how much her artificial gifts can help her now." The battle began without warning. Zephyrian ships appeared from everywhere at once, firing weapons that used the nebula's energy as ammunition. Red lightning bolts lanced through space, targeting the Coalition fleet with deadly accuracy. Shields are failing, Ben called out as the Dawn's Edge shook under enemy fire. Their weapons are stronger than anything we've seen before. Maya felt something snap inside her head. Suddenly, she could see the entire battle from above, like looking down at a game board. Every ship, every weapon, every possible move became clear to her in ways that hurt to understand. All ships, emergency formation change, she commanded. Her voice sounded different now, colder and more precise. Hive Fleet, attack pattern Omega-7. Prism Squadron, focus fire on grid coordinates I'm sending now. Urson Warriors, prepare for ramming speed. The Coalition fleet moved like a single organism under Maya's guidance. Ships that had never fought together before now worked in perfect harmony. The Hive vessels darted between enemy fire like angry insects. The crystal beings unleashed devastating energy beams at exactly the right moments. The Urson ships charged through the chaos like living missiles, but the effort was destroying Maya. Blood ran from her nose as she pushed her enhanced abilities to their limits. The alien technology in her brain was working harder than ever before, showing her tactical possibilities that no human mind should be able to process. Maya, you're bleeding, Ben said, moving toward her. Stay back, Maya snapped, her eyes now glowing with faint blue light. I can see it all. Every move, every counter-move. We can win this. The battle raged for hours inside the red clouds. Ships exploded in bursts of light and flame. The Zephyrian weapon, half completed, began to crack under the assault from Maya's perfectly coordinated fleet. War-Prime Thaxos watched his forces being destroyed by tactics he recognized, but had never seen used so skillfully. Impressive, he said to himself. But let us see how long she can maintain such clarity. He touched his enhancement device again and sent a focused mental attack toward the human commander. It was a technique the ancient technology allowed. A way to disrupt another enhanced mind from a distance. Maya screamed as alien thoughts invaded her consciousness. The bridge of the Dawn's Edge spun around her as she collapsed to the floor. The last thing she remembered was Ben's worried face looking down at her and the sound of alarms filling the air. Dr. Helen Park, the ship's medical officer, ran her scanner over Maya's unconscious form. The readings made no sense. Maya's brain activity was completely different from any human baseline she had ever seen. Admiral, Dr. Park said quietly, I need to speak with you privately. There's something very wrong with Commander Collins. Her neural patterns don't match anything in our medical database. Admiral Rodriguez looked down at Maya, who was breathing but still unconscious. Around them, the battle continued as other. Officers tried to coordinate the fleet without their tactical genius. How wrong? The Admiral asked. Wrong enough that I'm not sure she's entirely human anymore, Dr. Park replied. Ben Walsh overheard the conversation and felt his world shift. His best friend, the woman who had saved countless lives, might not be what she appeared to be. But as enemy fire continued to strike their ship, he realized that Maya's nature mattered less than her intentions. When Maya finally woke up in the medical bay, she found Ben sitting beside her bed. Her head felt like it was splitting open, and she could taste blood in her mouth. The battle? She asked weakly. We won, Ben said. Barely. The fleet is damaged, but the Zephyrian weapon is destroyed. He paused, studying her face carefully. Maya, Dr. Park found some unusual readings in your brain scans. We need to talk. Maya closed her eyes. She had known this moment would come eventually. The headaches, the impossible tactical insights, the blue light in her vision. It was all connected to something she had been hiding for years. Not here, she whispered. too many people listening. Tonight, in my quarters, I'll tell you everything." Ben nodded and squeezed her hand. "Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together." But as Maya lay in the medical bay, she wondered if Ben would still want to help her when he learned the truth. She was becoming something that was no longer entirely human, and each battle made the transformation worse. Outside the ship, red clouds of the Crimson Nebula swirled like blood in space. Somewhere in the distance, War Prime Faxos was planning his next move. He had felt Maya's enhanced mind during the battle, and now he knew for certain that he had found someone like himself. The real war was just beginning, and it would be fought between beings who were no longer what they had been born to be. Maya sat on her bed, watching Ben Walsh pace around her small quarters. 3 days had passed since the battle in the Crimson Nebula, and she could see the worry in her old friend's eyes. She had promised to tell him the truth, but now that the moment had come, the words felt impossible to speak. "The medical scans don't lie, Maya," Ben said, stopping to face her. "Dr. Park showed me the readings. Your brain activity is completely different from normal humans. Some parts of your mind are working at levels that should be impossible." Maya took a deep breath. She had carried this secret alone for 15 years. "Sit down, Ben. What I'm about to tell you will change everything you think you know about me." Ben sat in the chair across from her, his face serious but kind. "I've known you for 8 years. Nothing you say will change the fact that you're my best friend." Maya stood up and walked to the wall panel she had hidden so carefully. With shaking hands, she opened the secret compartment and pulled out the glowing blue device. Ben's eyes went wide as he saw the alien technology. "This is what makes me different," Maya said, holding the device carefully. 15 years ago, my parents were xenobiologists studying ancient alien ruins. They were captured by something that called itself the Architects. These beings did experiments on me before I was fully born, connecting this technology to my developing brain." She placed her palm against the smooth surface of the device. Immediately, her eyes began to glow with the same blue light. Strange. Symbols appeared in the air around her, showing mathematical formulas and star charts that no human should understand. "My God," Ben whispered. "Maya, you're not entirely human anymore," Maya finished, pulling her hand away. The glowing stopped, but she could still feel the alien presence in her mind. "Every battle I fight, every tactical decision I make, comes from this technology. I'm becoming more like the Architects and less like myself." Ben stared at the device. In her hands. "How long have you been hiding this?" "Since I joined the military. I thought I could control it, use it to protect humanity without anyone knowing. But it's getting stronger. The headaches, the strange visions, the way I can see battle patterns that shouldn't exist, it's all getting worse." Before Ben could respond, the ship's alarm began sounding. Ryan's voice came over the communication system. "All senior officers to the bridge immediately. We're receiving a direct transmission from the Zephyrian fleet." Maya quickly hid the device and followed Ben to the bridge. Admiral Rodriguez was standing in front of the main screen, his face grim. "Maya, you need to hear this. The enemy commander is asking to speak with you personally." The screen flickered and War Prime Faxos appeared. The Zephyrian leader looked different from other members of his species. His eyes held the same intelligent coldness that Maya sometimes saw in her own reflection. "Commander Collins," Faxos said, his voice carrying across space, "I felt your mind during our battle. You carry the gift of the Architects, as do I." Maya stepped forward, trying to hide her shock. "What do you want?" Faxos smiled with his sharp teeth to offer you truth. The technology we both carry was not meant to make us weapons for our species. It was meant to prepare us for something much greater. something that threatens all life in this galaxy. He's lying, Admiral Rodriguez said quietly. Don't listen to him. But Maya could see something in Thaxus's eyes that made her believe him. The same pain she felt when using her enhanced abilities. The same sense of becoming something other than what she was born to be. Meet me at the neutral station in the Void Sector, Thaxus continued. Come alone, and I will show you what the architects really intended. Your human friends will never understand what you are becoming. I can help you control it. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Maya could feel everyone staring at her, waiting for her to explain how an enemy commander knew about her enhanced abilities. Captain Alex Morgan, the intelligence officer, stepped forward. His suspicious eyes focused on Maya. Commander, how? Does the enemy know details about your tactical methods? We may have a security breach. There's no breach, Maya said, but her voice sounded weak even to herself. I've been reviewing battle reports, Morgan continued. Your tactical solutions are beyond normal human capability. Some of your strategies shouldn't be possible for anyone to conceive. Lisa Parker looked confused. Maya has always been brilliant. That's why we win battles. No human is this brilliant, Morgan replied. I think Commander Collins has been hiding something from us. Ben Walsh moved to stand beside Maya. Alex, you're out of line. Maya has saved more lives than anyone in this fleet. That doesn't answer the question of how she does it, Morgan shot back. Admiral Rodriguez raised his hand for silence. Enough. Maya, I need you to report to my ready room in 1 hour. We're going to discuss this privately. As the bridge crew returned to their duties, Maya felt the walls closing in around her. Ben followed her to the elevator, his face full of worry. There. Going to find out, Maya said quietly. Morgan won't stop investigating until he has answers. Then maybe it's time to tell them the truth, Ben replied. You've been protecting humanity for years. They should know what you've sacrificed for them. But Maya shook her head. You saw their faces when Thaxus mentioned my enhanced abilities. They're already afraid of me. If they knew what I really am, they'd lock me up or worse. In her quarters, Maya sat alone, staring at the hidden device. She could feel it calling to her, promising greater power if she would only embrace what she was becoming. But each time she used it, she lost a little more of her humanity. Her door chimed, and Ryan Torres entered. The young communications officer looked nervous but determined. Commander, I heard what happened on the bridge. I wanted you to know that some of us don't care how you win battles. We care that you keep us alive. Maya smiled sadly. Thank you, Ryan. That means more than you know. After Ryan left, Maya made a decision that would change everything. She opened a communication channel to Admiral Rodriguez. Admiral, I need to tell you something important. Something that will explain everything about my tactical abilities. An hour later, Maya sat in the Admiral's ready room with Ben beside her for support. Admiral Rodriguez listened in silence as Maya revealed her true nature, showing him the alien device and explaining how her parents had been changed by the architects. When she finished, the Admiral sat quietly for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Maya, this explains so much. Your impossible victories, your ability to coordinate different alien species, the way you seem to see solutions that our computers miss. Are you going to have me arrested? Maya asked. I should. Admiral Rodriguez admitted. Coalition Command has strict rules about genetic modification and alien technology. But you've saved countless lives. You've protected human colonies that would have been destroyed without your abilities. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. The question is, what do we do now? Morgan's investigation will eventually uncover the truth. And that Zephyrian commander seems to know more about your condition than we do. Maya felt a strange pull in her mind, as if something was calling to her from deep space. Thaxos was right about one thing. There's more to this than just tactical abilities. I can feel something out there, something dangerous coming toward our galaxy. What kind of something? Ben asked. Maya closed her eyes and let her enhanced senses reach out into the void. What she felt made her blood run cold. Something that eats entire star systems. Something that the architects were trying to prepare us to fight. Admiral Rodriguez turned back to them. And we have a choice to make. We can follow regulations and hand you over to Coalition Command for study, or we can trust that you're still fighting for humanity despite what you've become. I am still fighting for humanity, Maya said firmly. No matter what I become, I will always protect the people I love. The Admiral nodded slowly. Then we keep this between us for now. But Maya, if you're going to meet with that Zephyrian commander, you won't go alone. We need to know what he knows about this greater threat. As Maya left the Admiral's ready room, she felt both relief and terror. Her secret was finally shared with people she trusted, but the revelation had opened doors to questions she wasn't sure she wanted answered. That night, as she lay in her bed, Maya could feel the alien device pulsing in its hiding place. Something was coming, something that would require her to use powers she barely understood. She only hoped that when the time came, she would still remember what it meant to be human. In the darkness of space, War Prime Thaxos felt Maya's mental presence like a distant star. Soon they would meet, and the real truth about the architect's plan would be revealed. The galaxy was about to face its greatest threat, and only those who had been changed could stand against it. But the price of that power might be their souls. The neutral station floated in the empty darkness of the void sector, far from any star or planet. Maya Collins stood in the docking bay of the Dawn's Edge, wearing her dress uniform, but carrying the alien device hidden in her jacket. Admiral Rodriguez and Ben Walsh watched her prepare for what might be the most important meeting in galactic history. Remember, we'll be monitoring everything, Admiral Rodriguez said. If this goes wrong, we'll get you out of there. Maya nodded. But she knew that if Thaxos wanted to hurt her, the Admiral's ships wouldn't be able to stop him. The Zephyrian commander had the same enhanced abilities she did, maybe even stronger ones. Are you sure about this? Ben asked. We don't know what he really wants. I have to know the truth, Maya replied. The things I've been seeing in my mind, the strange dreams about something dark coming from outside our galaxy. Thaxos might have answers. Maya's small shuttle docked with the neutral station 20 minutes later. The facility was old and mostly empty, built long ago for peace talks that never happened. Now it would host a meeting between two enhanced beings who might hold the fate of all life in their hands. Thaxos was waiting for her in the main conference room. Up close, Maya could see the device attached to his skull more clearly. It pulsed with the same blue light as her hidden technology, but his seemed more advanced, more integrated with his biology. Welcome, Maya Collins, Thaxos said, gesturing for her to sit across from him. I know this must be difficult for you. Meeting with an enemy, trusting someone your species considers a monster. Maya sat down but kept her hand near her weapon. You said you had answers about the architects. Start talking. Thaxos smiled sadly. The architects were not the first enhanced species in this galaxy. They were created by an even older race, one that learned too late about the threat that exists beyond our reality. He touched his skull device, and suddenly the room filled with holographic images. Maya saw ancient star charts showing galaxies being consumed by something that looked like living darkness. The Devourers, Thaxos continued. They exist between dimensions, feeding on entire galaxies before moving on to the next one. They consumed the first enhanced race completely. The architects barely escaped, and they spent millions of years preparing for the Devourer's return. Maya stared at the images of dead galaxies. And the enhancement technology? A weapon, Thaxos replied. Not for fighting other species, but for fighting something that normal biological minds cannot even comprehend. The architects scattered their technology across the galaxy, hoping that younger races would produce enhanced individuals when the time came. Maya pulled out her own device, placing it on the table between them. Both machines began to glow brighter, responding to each other's presence. Your parents weren't captured randomly, Thaxos said. They were chosen because their genetic patterns were compatible with architect technology. You were created to be a bridge between species, someone who could unite different races against the coming darkness. And you? Maya asked. The same. My people found architect ruins 50 years ago. I volunteered for the enhancement process, not knowing what I would become. Thaxos looked down at his hands. I started this war between our species because I thought conflict would make us both stronger. I was wrong. Suddenly, both devices began pulsing rapidly. Maya felt a sharp pain in her head as new visions flooded her mind. She could see the edge of their galaxy, where space itself was being torn apart by something that hungry darkness. They're coming, Maya whispered. The Devourers. I can feel them approaching. Thaxos nodded grimly. They'll reach our galaxy in less than 6 months. When they arrive, every world, every species, every living thing will be consumed unless we stop them. How do we fight something like that? Together. The enhanced minds from both our species working as one. But it will require us to embrace the full power of the architect technology, even if it means losing ourselves completely. Maya thought about her friends on the Dawn's Edge, about all the human colonies she had sworn to protect. What do you mean, losing ourselves? Thaxos touched his device again, and for a moment his eyes glowed so brightly they looked like small blue stars. To access the power needed to fight the Devourers, we must let the architect technology take complete control of our minds. We become something new, something that exists partially outside normal reality. We might retain our memories, but we would no longer be the people we once were. The weight of that choice settled on Maya like a heavy blanket. She had already felt herself changing with each battle, becoming less human and more something else. To save the galaxy, she would have to give up the last pieces of who she used to be. There has to be another way, Maya said. If there is, I haven't found it in 50 years of searching, Thaxos replied. The Devourers exist on a level of reality that normal minds cannot touch. Only fully enhanced beings can even perceive them properly, much less fight them. Maya stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Dawn's Edge was waiting for her return. Ben and Admiral Rodriguez and all her friends trusted her to make the right choice. If we do this, if we let the technology change us completely, will we still care about protecting the people we love? Thaxos joined her at the window. I don't. No, that's the risk we take. We might save everyone by becoming something that no longer understands why they needed saving. They stood in silence for several minutes, two enhanced beings contemplating a choice that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy. Finally, Maya made her decision. I need to return to my ship. My people deserve to know what's coming, and they deserve to have a choice in how we face it. The Devourers won't give them a choice, Thaxos warned. Then we'll make our own choice, Maya replied. Together. 2 days later, Maya stood before the largest gathering of species leaders in Coalition history. Representatives from dozens of worlds had come to hear what she had learned from Thaxos. The Zephyrian commander stood beside her, no longer an enemy, but a reluctant ally. The threat coming toward our galaxy is beyond anything we've ever faced, Maya told the assembled leaders. But we have a chance to stop it, if we're willing to work together and trust in abilities that some of you might find frightening. Admiral, Rodriguez spoke from the human delegation. "What do you need from us?" Maya looked at Ben Walsh in the audience, knowing that this might be the last time she saw him as herself. Time to prepare. Ships and crews willing to follow enhanced commanders into a battle that will determine whether life continues to exist in this galaxy. Over the following months, Maya and Thaxos worked together to coordinate the greatest military alliance in galactic history. They shared their enhanced abilities with selected volunteers from both species, creating a small army of partially enhanced commanders who could coordinate the massive fleet. When the Devourers finally arrived at the galaxy's edge, they found not scattered, fighting species, but a united force led by beings who could perceive and battle them on their own level. The final battle lasted 3 days and stretched across multiple dimensions of reality. Maya felt herself changing completely as she embraced the full power of the architect technology. Her consciousness expanded beyond the physical universe, allowing her to see the Devourer's true nature and find ways to hurt them. In the end, she and Thaxos succeeded in driving the Devourers back into the void between galaxies. But the victory came at the price they had both feared. When the battle ended, Maya Collins no longer existed as she had been. What remained was something new, a consciousness that spanned the space between stars and remembered what it meant to be human without truly being human anymore. She could still feel love for Ben and her friends, but it was distant now, like remembering a beautiful dream. From her new existence, Maya watched over the galaxy she had saved. She had become humanity's guardian angel, no longer one of them, but forever devoted to protecting them. The people of Earth would tell stories about the commander, who saved everyone by becoming something greater than herself. And in the quantum spaces between reality, Maya Collins continued her eternal watch, making sure that the darkness would never again threaten the light of living worlds. Her sacrifice had saved the galaxy, and though she was no longer human, she had never been more herself.